The conference room held 240 investors. My heels clicked against marble at exactly 2:17 p.m. as I approached the podium. 10 years ago, my mother looked me in the eyes on my 21st birthday and called me the disappointment before handing my sister a check for $50,000, money from my grandmother's inheritance that was supposed to be split equally. The worst part wasn't the betrayal. It was that everyone nodded like she was right. What they don't know, what none of them sitting in row 3 know, is that the disappointment just became the majority shareholder of the family business they thought I'd never be good enough to touch. Rewind a decade. The living room smelled like lilies and expensive perfume. My 21st birthday fell on a Saturday. I'd graduated with honors in business management 4 months earlier. Already had a position lined up at a tech startup. $58,000 starting salary. Equity options, mentorship program. Not glamorous, but solid. A real career. My sister Sloane sat on the cream-colored sofa, 23 years old, 2 years into a photography degree she'd never finish. She'd changed majors 3 times. Art history, fashion design, now photography. Her student loan debt was climbing past $80,000. Her portfolio had 6 photos she'd taken on her iPhone. Mom had hired a photographer for the occasion. Professional. She wanted this documented. "Before we do cake," Mom announced, "I have something important to share." Dad shifted in his chair. He knew what was coming. She handed Sloane a cream envelope. Thick, heavy. "Your grandmother wanted you to pursue your dreams." Sloane opened it. Her gasp was genuine. $50,000? My stomach dropped. My grandmother had died 8 months ago. Her will specified that her savings, $100,000, should be split between her 2 granddaughters equally. I watched Mom's face, carefully blank. "What about—" I started. Mom turned to me, handed me a smaller envelope. "Your grandmother knew you were practical. She wanted to invest in talent, not just stability." Inside, a check for $5,000, and a note in Mom's handwriting, not grandmother's, for the dependable one. The room was watching. Aunts, uncles, cousins, waiting for my reaction. I looked at Dad. He was studying his watch. "Grandma's will said 50-50, I said quietly. Mom's smile tightened. "The will said I had discretion over distribution, based on need and potential. Sloane has a gift. She needs support to flourish. You've always been fine figuring things out yourself." "That's not what the will—" "Are you really going to make a scene at your own birthday party?" Mom's voice dropped, sharp. "Your sister has artistic vision. You have a reliable job. Be grateful for what you have." Sloane was already on her phone, probably calculating camera equipment. I stood up, took my small envelope. I need some air. In the bathroom, I called the estate attorney, left a voicemail. My hands were shaking so hard, I could barely hold the phone. He called back Monday morning. "The will specified equal distribution unless one beneficiary was incapacitated or deceased. Your mother had no legal authority to distribute unequally based on potential." "Can I contest it?" "You could, but it would mean suing your mother. Family court, public records. Are you prepared for that?" I looked at my apartment. 1,200 square feet, furnished from Craigslist and Target. My car was 9 years old. I'd been saving for a newer one. Sloane had already posted photos of new camera equipment. $7,000 in gear. #blessed. #follow your dreams. "What would it cost to fight?" I asked. $15,000 to $20,000 in legal fees. Maybe more if she contests. Could take 2 years. I had $8,000 in savings. I hung up. The birthday incident wasn't new. It was just the biggest. Growing up, Sloane got the bigger bedroom because she needed space to create. I got the room overlooking the garbage bins because I didn't mind. High school. Sloane got a car for her 16th birthday. I was told to save for my own because it would teach me responsibility. I worked 20 hours a week at a grocery store and bought a 14-year-old sedan that died 2 years later. College. Sloane went to a private art school, $48,000 a year. Mom and Dad paid. I went to state school on academic scholarships and loans. Still graduated with $32,000 in debt. Every family dinner became a showcase for Sloane's artistic journey. Her semester in Paris, her photography exhibition at a coffee shop where 3 people showed up. She features in a local blog with 200 followers. My promotion to senior analyst at the startup? That's nice, honey. Sloane, show everyone your new headshots. My award for exceeding quarterly targets? Wonderful. Did we tell you Sloane's applying to a residency in Barcelona? Year 2 after the birthday. Sloane's photography career wasn't taking off. She moved back home, started a blog about finding yourself in your 20s, posted photos of lattes and sunset silhouettes. 0 income. Mom called it building her brand. I called it what it was. Mom funding Sloane's refusal to get a real job. Year 4. The startup went public. My equity options were suddenly worth $217,000. I sold half, paid off my student loans, bought a condo, started investing the rest. Family dinner that Sunday. I mentioned it casually, thought maybe they'd be proud. Mom's response. Well, you were lucky to join when you did. Right place, right time. Sloane. It must be nice to only care about money. I set down my fork. What? You've always been about the paycheck. Some of us want to make art that matters. Art that matters requires you to actually make it. When was your last client? Mom's hand hit the table. That's enough. Sloane is building something meaningful. Not everyone measures success in dollars. No, I said. Some people measure it in $50,000 of my inheritance they stole. Silence. Dad cleared his throat. That's not fair. You know what's not fair? I had to get a lawyer to review Grandma's will because I knew something was wrong. You want to know what he told me? That distribution was illegal, that I could sue, that I chose not to because it would cost me everything I'd saved and destroy this family. So I ate the loss. Again, like I always do. Mom's face was ice. Your grandmother wanted Sloane to have opportunities. Grandmother's will said 50-50. I have a copy. Want me to read it out loud? Sloane's face went pale. She'd known. They'd all known. I stood. I'm done. You walk out that door, Mom said. Don't bother coming back. I grabbed my bag. I'll send a card at Christmas. I didn't go back. Not for dinners, not for holidays, not for Sloane's 30th birthday party or Mom's retirement celebration. They sent messages, voicemails about how I was holding grudges and being petty and tearing the family apart. I blocked them all, except Dad. He was the only one who'd texted an apology. Short, weak, but something. I threw myself into work. The startup was growing. I moved from analyst to director of business development, led 3 major acquisitions, built relationships with investors across 4 states. Year 6, I was recruited by a venture capital firm. Salary? $230,000 plus bonuses. I took it. Year 7, I started noticing something. Our family business, Mom and Dad's commercial real estate company, was struggling. Bad investments, over-leveraged properties. Dad had always run it, but Mom had taken over operations after retirement. She'd hired Sloane as creative director, whatever that meant for a real estate company. Their quarterly reports were public record. Profits down 43% over 3 years. Debt increasing. 2 major clients hadn't renewed contracts. Year 8. I heard through a cousin that they were looking for investors. The business was hemorrhaging money. Without capital, they'd have to sell. I made a call to my managing partner. What would it take to acquire a controlling stake in a commercial real estate firm? I spent 6 months doing due diligence. Everything is legal. Everything is documented. Requested their financials through official channels. Reviewed every contract, every property, every investment decision from the past 5 years. The picture was clear. Mismanagement. Properties purchased at inflated prices because Sloan thought they had aesthetic potential. Marketing budgets blown on photo shoots that generated 0 leads. A rebrand that cost $80,000 and confused their existing clients. One property, a strip mall they'd bought for $2.3 million, was now valued at $1.6 million. Sloan had insisted on modernizing it with expensive renovations that didn't match the neighborhood demographic. 3 businesses left. The mall was 40% vacant. I documented everything. 17 major financial decisions that had directly led to losses. Every one had Sloan's name in the approval chain, and Mom had signed off on all of it. Dad's signature was absent from the past 3 years of documents. I found out why through a former employee. He'd had a minor stroke. Mom told everyone he was semi-retired. She'd taken over completely. Year 9. The business was on the verge of bankruptcy. They were seeking a buyer. Any buyer. I assembled my offer. 52% controlling stake. Enough to take over operations. The price was fair, actually generous given their financial state. I submitted it through an LLC, kept my name off the paperwork until closing. The deal closed on a Tuesday in March. I became the majority shareholder at 10 a.m. My attorney scheduled the announcement meeting for that afternoon. All stakeholders required to attend. I arrived at 2 p.m. and walked into the conference room where I'd attended exactly 3 meetings before the birthday incident. Before I'd been cut out. Mom sat at the head of the table, Sloan beside her. Dad at the far end, looking older than I remembered. 12 other stakeholders filled the remaining seats. They were expecting my attorney. They got me. Mom's face was drained of color. "Hello, Mother." Sloan's mouth opened. Nothing came out. "I believe you're in my seat," I said to Mom. She didn't move. I set down my briefcase. "Let me be clear. As of this morning, I own 52% of this company, which means I have operational control. You're looking at your new CEO." "This is a joke," Mom said. "Check with your attorney. It's done." Dad was staring at me. Something in his expression, not quite pride, but close. "You can't do this," Sloan said. "This is family." "Exactly. Family business. And I'm family. Though you all seem to forget that 10 years ago when you stole my inheritance and called me disappointed." I pulled up the presentation on the screen. Every bad decision is documented. Every financial loss. Every client complains. Strip mall renovation, $740,000 over budget. Based on whose recommendation? I clicked. Sloan's name appeared. Photography-based marketing campaign, $83,000 spent. New clients generated? 0. Approved by? Mom's name. Company rebrand emphasizing artistic vision in real estate. Confused existing client. Base lost 3 major contracts worth $1.2 million annually. Whose idea? I didn't need to click. They knew. "You're trying to humiliate us," Mom said. "I'm showing the stakeholders why this company was failing. Why were you desperate enough to sell to anyone who'd buy it? Why didn't you do your due diligence on who was buying?" A board member spoke up. "What are your plans for the company?" "Return it to profitability. Strip out vanity projects. Focus on core business. Rebuild client relationships." I've already spoken with the 3 major clients we lost. 2 are willing to return under new management. And current management? He asked. I looked at Mom. My mother will be retained as a consultant. Reduced role, reduced compensation. 30 hours a week instead of 50. She'll focus on client relations, where she has genuine strengths. Mom's jaw clenched. Sloane's position as creative director will be eliminated. The role served no business function and will not be replaced. You can't fire me, Sloane said. I'm your sister. And this is business. You're welcome to apply for other positions in the company if you have relevant qualifications. Otherwise, you'll receive 2 months severance, which is more than generous given your performance record. She looked at Mom. Mom looked at the table. The meeting lasted 90 minutes. By the end, every stakeholder had seen the data. Several approached me afterward. This is what we needed, real leadership. Your mother meant well, but we're relieved, honestly. Mom left without speaking. Sloane followed, crying. Dad waited until the room emptied, approached slowly. I owe you an apology, he said. More than one. Yes. Your mother and we enabled Sloane. We told ourselves we were supporting her dreams. We didn't see that we were crippling her, or what we were doing to you. You saw. You just didn't care enough to stop it. He nodded. You're right. I'm sorry. I don't need your apology. I needed your support 10 years ago. I needed you to stand up when Mom stole my inheritance. When she called me, I was disappointed in front of our entire family. When she erased me from every family narrative because I wasn't artistic enough, or interesting enough, or tragic enough to deserve attention. His eyes were wet. I know. I succeeded because I had no choice. You made sure of that. That was 8 months ago. The company is profitable again. 12.4% growth in the first 2 quarters. Client satisfaction up 37%. We've leased the vacant spaces in the strip mall. The property value is recovering. Mom works her 30 hours and goes home. We maintain professional courtesy. Nothing more. Sloane found a job at a marketing agency. Entry level. She's learning actual skills. Her Instagram is quieter now. Fewer sunsets, more work from client projects. She's better for it. Dad and I have coffee once a month. Conversations are careful, polite. There's a boundary now that didn't exist before. I don't resent him anymore. I just don't trust him. The family doesn't gather like it used to. No Sunday dinners, no holiday productions. Last Thanksgiving, I went to Cabo with friends from work. I posted one photo, on a boat, champagne in hand. Caption, grateful. Mom commented, must be nice. I deleted it. Last week, I received a message from a cousin I haven't seen in years. Her daughter just graduated college. The family's already comparing her to her younger sister, making her feel insufficient. Familiar story. I took her to lunch, told her everything. Not to be vindictive, to give her the permission I never had. You're not the disappointment, I said. You're just surrounded by people who need you to be small so they can feel big. The best revenge isn't cruelty. It's building a life so successful they can't dismiss it, and then having the strength to walk away from anyone who still tries. She cried. Then she asked for career advice. Sometimes people ask if I regret it, taking over the company, forcing my family to face what they'd done. I don't. You cannot heal while you're being poisoned. You cannot grow while people are cutting you down to keep you convenient. For 21 years, I was the responsible one, the practical one, the disappointment who didn't needing support because she always figured it out. They were right about one thing. I always figured it out. I figured out that my worth wasn't determined by their acknowledgement. I figured out that success built on your own terms is sweeter than any inheritance. I figured out that the people who should protect you sometimes become the people you need protection from. And I figured out that the best revenge isn't destruction. It's proving every single person who underestimated you absolutely, devastatingly wrong. Then running the company better than they ever could. If you're the disappointment in your family, the reliable one, the practical one, the one who's fine on their own, I see you. They're wrong. You're not disappointed. You're the one who's going to make it. And 10 years from now, you'll be sitting at the head of the table they said you'd never reach. Take your seat. You earned it.